Well, bowling fans, thanks for joining us today. Once again, Motion Plus Lanes, the site of a tournament. We don't have the adults this time, though. We always have those action heating and cooling tournaments here. We got the Youth Challenge Series here with the Barbiere Classic. And Joey, we're not treating the kids as nice as we treat the adults. Shots a little bit tougher for them on the Youth Challenge Series than we see for the action heating and cooling tournaments.
Without a doubt. But these are young guns, Phil, and I think they will be up to the challenge because accuracy is going to be more important today than the big hook ball.
Absolutely. We've got Kegel's Highway to Hell pattern out there. It's a 40-foot pattern. It's tougher than a lot of the PBA patterns that the bowlers see out there, and the challenges out there for them. We're going to be back with our 15 and under semifinal first, follow it up with our girls' championship matches, and we'll be back with that from Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment.
Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's, in the heart of South Milwaukee, and near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road.
The Look is the strongest back-ending ball in the new 900 Global lineup. With a high 255 RG and 050 differential, the Look will easily get down the lane, saving its power. Then look out for a hard turn as it exits the oil pattern.
Here we are with the 15 and under semifinal for Motion Plus Lanes for the 2012 Barbiere's Classic. And Joey, we got Jarrod Sense leading us off here on lane 9.
And an exciting show, Phil, where we get to see the new upcoming youngsters, we could call them.
Yeah.
Soon to be experienced players.
Yeah, and both a TV experience under the belt. You saw Jarrod in the mixed doubles from Lake Geneva a little earlier this season. Brent, you saw at our last tournament, the Kickoff Classic from Castle Lanes. So both these bowlers looking for their first TV victory today.
Yeah, experienced player, switching balls for the 10-pin, and a good move.
Covers it up nicely. Now we get our first look today at Brent Boho. One of those interesting little two-handers out there, Joey.
Out of Colgate, Wisconsin. Attends Marquette High School in Colgate.
Bowls out of Sussex Bowl and Classic Falls. A couple of good junior programs up that way. And for a two-hander, that's one of the straightest lines I've ever seen played, and he makes it work for him.
Yeah, and his ball choice today is a Tropical Breeze from Storm, and it's only an eyelash or two stronger than a urethane ball hook-wise, but obviously a little better hitting power due to the resin cover.
And you're going to see all the players on the show today play a little straight. We're on Kegel's Highway to Hell pattern. It's a 40-foot long pattern, but it's real changes quite quickly, so the bowlers realized early in qualifying the straighter they could play it, the more success they would have, and you can see how straight that shot was.
Strong opening double, and he's putting some early pressure on Jarrod there.
No doubt, and Jarrod, you're going to see he doesn't like to take a lot of time before he sets up on the approach. He knows what he wants to do. Looked like he gripped it and ripped it in that one, and that's going to be problems, Joy.
Yeah, inches up a little high, but you know, when you use strong equipment, and he is using a Storm Vivid, which is arguably their most aggressive hooking ball. Now again, he switches to his spare ball once again, and good move on the kid's part, especially when count could be important later in the match.
Oh, we've seen so many of these TV matches decided by 1, 2, 3 pins that, you know, kids look back after they're done, they go, oh, if I would have gotten 2 out of that spare instead of 1.
Right, and on a 4-6, your chances of making it are, what are the odds?
1,000 to 1?
Astronomical.
Yeah. I mean, there's 10 times as many 300 games shot as there are big fours made during leagues, so that gives you the odds of it right there. So Jarrod looking to bounce back. He's got that nice setup and real quick 4-step approach.
4-step, good position right before the release. And he threw a good shot there. It kind of fell off a little, but again, the ball held pocket.
13 years old. If I had that kind of game when I was 13 years old, wow, I'd hate the... Wonder what my junior record would have been instead of the losses that it mostly was at the time.
Well, yeah, and these kids have nowhere to go but up, so by the time they're 18, 20, Phil, we're going to see some real star quality here.
Yeah. And these kids got a lot to look forward to. High school bowling, once they get out of, you know, in Brent's case, he's a freshman at Marquette High School, so they're starting a bowling team this year, so first time they're going to join the Wisconsin High School Bowling Club. And Jarrod bowls in Illinois, and when he gets into high school down there, he's got state certified high school bowling competition for him down there. So
yes, maybe Wisconsin one day will join the ranks and certify it here as well.
Yeah, hopefully get that WIA sanctioning behind it, and you know, give it the credibility it deserves. We try to here with the telecast on Time Warner Cable Sports 32, and we want to thank our friends for that. And that, wow, how about that?
The walls come tumbling down, and you know he gets a little quick at times. He's pretty much a 6-step approach. His first step is starting with his right foot, moves an inch or two, and then he goes into his little 5-step. And you got to be careful when you generate that much speed to the line. Watch that first step there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Good release. No fingers in the ball, Phil, for a 10-pin conversion.
Yeah, it was pointed out to me before that he leaves his fingers on the outside of the ball. Perfectly legal to do as long as you cover the finger holes.
Yet
which
he
does.
He still gets a good rev rate on the ball.
Gets more than what I do normally on a shot with no fingers.
And there's a big double from Jarrod answering the call.
And even though he's down by almost 30 pins early, there's still a lot of match left. You know, we saw at the Kickoff Classic, we saw some bowlers get away to 40-pin leads and quickly evaporate after the commercial break. So
well, we know how important it is, you know, throughout the game, but it's how you finish in the 9th and 10th that generally separates the winners from the losers.
And that was a common leave all day on this highway to hell pattern, with it being relatively flat, almost basically a 2-to-1 ratio, tougher than a lot of stuff that people see on the PBA Tour. If that ball got out to the right, it stayed there, and we saw a lot of 1-2-4s and 1-2-4-10s and a lot of open frames caused by those multiple pin leaves.
Right, and again, when we say a flatter pattern, that means there's even oil distribution from gutter to gutter. There's no crown or help in the middle.
With that spare, we're going to get to the commercial break for this match in the 2012 Barbiere's Classic. Joey and I back from Motion Plus Lanes. Brent Boho stepping up here at Motion Plus Lanes, sitting on a 28-pin lead in his 5th frame, and Joey, he's thrown some pretty good shots so far. The last one got away from him, got lucky to leave just that 10-pin.
Right, and you know, he's no stranger to big scores, Phil. He does have a high game of 300, high series, 697, and at a young age and only been bowling 3 years. That's plenty impressive.
Yes,
I mean, there's bowlers that bowl 40, 50 years their entire lifetime and do not shoot 300.
And he's already got one under his belt. Well, let's see. Looks like his fingers are on the outside of the ball again, going for that right side spare. It's amazing the revs he gets on it, but once again, that oil comes into play.
Well, again, when the fingers aren't in, you can still utilize the finger pad across the surface to create some rotation.
And that's going to basically knock his lead in half. So it takes it down from 29 pins down to 15 pins. And this is the lane he's been struggling on a little bit. He came up a little light the first frame, got a nice mixer, but the 4th frame almost left that washout, and now, wow.
That was a great shot, and you know, the fact he gets low at the release point creates great leverage and a bad break where the ball overhit.
Yeah, I think that's the 4-pin that basically goes right over the top. Let's see in the replay here. No, it's a 2-pin.
2-pin over the top, and it drove the 4-pin straight back, which is quite a bit of power to do that.
Yeah.
And again, he's using one of the least hooking, in fact, probably the least hooking reactive resin on the market.
And gets that ball over to cover up that single pin. A little bit of baby hook over to cover it up. And Jarrod now, he's got to think to himself, oh, my opponent's made a couple not so good shots in a row. I got a chance to really get back in the match in a hurry here. Keeps that ball well outside of his hip in his setup.
That was a good shot off the hand and a great result. And I think he knows where that ball's got to be, Phil. And it looks like it'd be about a 1 or 2 board zone. And then his carry percentage is good.
Yeah, that ball reads nice and early for him. And you're going to see both the bowlers. The ball's reading early, but it's not hooking a lot on the back end. It gets to a nice strong roll, and when it gets to the rack, as evidenced by too much power for Brent on his last shot, it's going to do a good job on these racks today. And of course, as soon as we say that, he gets a little quick and it leaves a 10.
That was a great shot, but again, it's still better to get 9 spare than to, say, throw an errant shot and create an open. So both these young kids kind of following in the steps of Cameron Doyle. I believe he is 15 years old.
Just turned 15,
Just
yeah.
turned. PBA competitive Cameron Doyle, and when I say competitive, he makes the top 10, top 20 cuts regularly.
Absolutely, and there's so many good young bowlers. And one bowler we've seen often on the U Challenge Series, A.J. Johnson. He's going to college right now down in St. Louis, so we probably won't see him until our spring shows. Once again, defending champion of the Show Memorial. This past
Junior
weekend,
Team USA and Team USA. And
won a PBA regional in the St. Louis area, so he got a PBA regional under his belt. Bowled as a guest, and I mean, when you beat Tom Hess, a former Masters champ, in the finals, that's some competition. This just wasn't some, little rinky-dink regional. He went through some solid bowlers to get that title, and we just want to give AJ a little congratulatory shout-out on the air here.
Right, and we kind of saw that with AJ. He had the physical game without question. The high backswing, the high rev rate, solid at the line. But he also had the moxie to be able to handle pressure and not fold like a cheap suit.
Absolutely. And he's just showing it more and more as his career's going longer. And wow.
It's a good break.
Yeah, caved in that 6 and 7 into each other. Left the 10, and well, we're going to get to see a unique spare style, and this time, once again, look when he's got the ball, when he holds it up high, which is interesting for his spares. For his strike ball, he starts low. For his spare ball, he starts it up high, and you can see the fingers on the outside of the ball.
Well, that left lane has been troublesome. He's only struck once on it. And another open, he's going to have 154 in the 8th. This could be single-digit lead.
Yeah, 3 pins, and if Jarrod can double in the 8th and 9th, he could take the lead for the first time in this match. See what Jarrod can do here.
He smells blood in the water. Makes a good shot. Not a great shot, and that's why that 7-pin is standing. The 5 didn't quite have enough impotence to knock it over.
Yeah, I think he tried giving it a little extra on the bottom, and it just kind of spun the ball a little bit, because when you watch the ball get to the pocket here, look how far it deflected over instead of driving.
And typically his ball has not been deflecting today.
So switches to that polyester ball. Gonna go.
This is not an easy spare, Phil. With heavy volume in the center, you better go right direct, because if he's aboard right of that at the arrows, he does not make that 7-pin.
Yeah, it's just sliding and gone. So, want to thank our host Kerry Catania at Motion Plus Lanes. You see him sitting in the crowd back there. Always a great host. We have our Action Heating and Cooling Open coming up November 10th. Make sure you check your local centers for those entry fees, and if you're thinking about bowling it. Great tournament. Going to pay at least $600 for first place this year, and it always fills up, so get your entries in to Kerry early.
And we see another high shot on the left lane, Phil. I mean, this could be a pattern where that left lane is breaking down quicker than the right lane, so the bowlers will have to make some type of adjustment.
Yeah, and winner of this match, we're going to go on to the next show. They'll be bowling the opening match on the boys' finals against Brandon Biano, who was our first 1500 champ from the Kickoff Classic at Castle Lanes, and that is just a bad time for an open for Jarrod, and he knows it.
It's almost like, I don't want the match, you take it. No, I don't want it, you take it. And again, it's going to come down to the 9th and 10th again for young Mr. Boho here.
Yeah, if he can just mark both frames, he'll be in the 190s with good count.
Well, he's had a good look on this lane, and he's high flush once again. I mean, he has struck on that lane all but one shot, Phil. Now, the left lane is the challenge, and he's been high, I believe, 2 of his last 3 shots on that lane.
That's correct. Yeah, he was high those 2 shots, and I mean, the bad break he got on a high flush 7-pin, but that was still a little too high.
But making a move on a tight lane condition, if he moves one board with his feet, the ball may not recover.
And that's a little far to the right and never got back up. And he didn't get that break he got in frame number 4.
Right, and it looked like he did get a little right and possibly even amped up his speed again, but at least it's a makeable, what we call washout, which could be called a split by some, but technically it is not. Because
the head pin's still there, and this is about a 50-50 conversion rate on our shows. And he needs to make this. If he can make this and get some good count, he's going to move to that 15 under final against Brandon Biondo, and that needs help.
Yeah, and he went with no fingers in the ball, trying for accuracy over hook.
And 182, which means Jarrod Sense has to double here and get 5 pins to move on to the 15 and under final, and that's going to need some help. Oh my!
And he got help.
I wonder if he even realizes that he's still in this match. He's kind of going back right now, and his dad, Buck, you see in the hat there just over his left shoulder, giving him some words of encouragement.
Well, he did strike 2 of the last 3 shots on this lane, with the last one not being a strike when he left that light 7-pin. So he has a look on this lane, but throwing a double when you need it, Phil, let's see if he can do it.
Almost in the exact same spot and the exact same result with the trip 4.
And trip 4s are not common nowadays, especially with the strong ball.
Exactly. It's the flatter entry angle he has because he's playing the lane straighter, and it's just enough. He still has to get 6 pins on this ball to make sure he advances.
Stays with his strike ball. Will he go for the nose? He goes for the pocket.
Just a little wide.
And just gets it.
gets himself a victory, 185 to 182. He's going to advance on to our next show against Brandon Biondo for the boys' finals in the 2012 Barbiere Classic. We'll be back with the girls' semifinal from Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned.
Hi, this is Kerry Catania, owner of Motion Plus Lanes. Please join us Saturday, December 1st and 2nd for our Marine Toys for Tots 9-pin tap tournament. You can call us today at 414-481-0200.
Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's, in the heart of South Milwaukee, and near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road.
I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too.
The girls' semifinal for the 2012 Barbiere's Classic, presented by our friends at 900 Global. I want to thank them for all their support of the Fall U Challenge Series swing. And Joy, familiar face here, Caerlina Williams, made a bunch of our shows over the last season, and she's starting us off here at Motion Plus.
20 years old already, Phil.
And
opening shot jitters, we will chalk that up as an errant shot, and she'll settle down.
yeah,
Both girls, again, shot makers, not power players. Probably enjoy friction more often than they do a tighter shot like this that they're not as accustomed to. So we'll see who can get it done, again, in a challenging environment.
yeah, very tough lane pattern out here for the young ladies today. Caerlina, we saw on our opening kickoff classic tournament, had a game there she wants to forget when she came out with a 130 game on TV, and I'm sure she'll improve on that today without a doubt.
You know, I believe Walter Ray Williams early in his career had a 137 on TV once, and it may have been one of his first matches, and we all know how that turned out.
$4.5 million in earnings and everything else he's done in his 30-year PBA career.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not how you start, it's how you evolve and finish in the sport. And a great opening shot by Tara.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. This is her first U Challenge Series TV appearance.
And she's giving up 4 years of experience to Caerlina. Age 16 for Tara. But again, both girls, very solid fundamentals, straight arm swings, good roll on the ball.
Yeah, definitely, Tara loves to play the lanes direct. Seen her a couple times at U Challenge Series tournaments now, and direct's working for her today.
Well, you know, on a tough pattern, Phil, direct is generally better, whereas on easier patterns, you might as well open up the lane because there's room.
And sometimes point A to point B is the easiest way to do it, and still plenty of mix, even with a little bit of a lower rev rate, thanks to that ball being in a strong roll when it got into the pocket. Well, let's see what Caerlina can do here. We're on that styling High Five Gear jersey. I want to thank our friends at High Five Gear for sponsoring the series again this season, and a little quick with ball speed that time.
And the ball kind of backed off a little bit on the back, and generally when we see that, that means maybe it didn't clear your thumb as well as you'd like it to, or the fingers didn't quite get the job done.
So she's going to switch to that polyester ball. And the last time we saw her, she had a little problem with the case of the lefts when she was going at left side spares. She was going
well, we saw that on her opening shot, missing the head pin left, but no trouble with that conversion.
Gets it nicely. And with Caerlina starting her college career at Robert Morris, entering as a freshman, I think she's going to make a pretty good contribution to that team this year. Always a well-ranked team, both on the men's and women's side. And you know, Chris Pearson's been a member of that team for the past from Waukesha. Now, Ryan Zagar and David Schwartz, both bowling for Robert Morris this year. There's no fall off there at all.
Right, and I believe Ryan on his Facebook page is waiting for the moment that he can begin his collegiate career. And, I mean, you know he's going to be successful. He got it done in the junior ranks relatively easily. And
led his team to 2 high school state titles with Racine Horlick, and you know, they have a solid team again. I mean, you look at Marshall Kent, made one of our U Challenge Series shows last year, Bowler of the Year collegiately for 2012. You know, Ryan, Chris Pearson, Mason Petron out of West Bend. Lots of quality players down at that Robert Morris program. They might be the team to beat instead of Wichita State for once.
Almost catches the wally there for a turkey. But again, she's happy with 9 spare, I'm sure. Not happy with 9 miss if she does miss it, but
Yeah, right now just stay clean, keep ahead of your opponent, maintain the lead.
well, I would think a low 200 should win the match, but we've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, we saw that last tournament with the boys at the Kickoff Classic when you get Kyle Anderson and Ryan Keith out there and the scores are 240s winning all day and all of a sudden it only took 2-0 to win. You kind of get that little wonder of what happened.
Now, that was an interesting conversion. She almost made that 7-pin with the ball not being on the lane surface, so whoever polished that ball did a good job.
The old tape measure shot. It was 63 feet and 11 1/4 inches before it fell off the lane.
Tara began her bowling career at age 5. There she catches a nice trip on the 4. So she's an 11-year veteran.
And high school bowling in Illinois really starting to take it off. So you see a lot of these kids that are in the 13, 14, 15-year-old age group. Now Tara being 16, these kids are getting ready for high school bowling. They get to represent their school. They have a great time with it, and
well, and you're right. Without the pro tour being achievable, since there is no women's pro tour, at least they can aspire to be a good collegiate player, a good high school player, and at least there's something to strive for.
So Caerlina getting a little bit of a good break there, leaving just that 4-7. Gonna be tough for her to chop this one, Joey. That 7-pin got moved over a little bit, came off the wall, so they're pretty tight together.
Well, does that make it tougher?
Maybe
I'd sooner have them close.
Yeah. Even righties can chop 4-7 sometimes, but no way she's going to chop that.
No, not when you hit both pins with the ball.
You can see both ladies with a good spare game. Now, this didn't happen too much all day for some of the bowlers, getting 4 frames in a row where they fill them with marks. Qualifying averages, Caerlina was the only bowler today on the boys or girls side to average over 200 in qualifying. So, a very tough pattern with Kegel's Highway to Hell and
making a ball change to the Storm Vivid. A little bit more hooking action. And she gave it room, and she may not want to give it quite that much room, but probably a good ball choice in that it should read the lane sooner.
Yeah, it did. It did definitely read the lane sooner, but it just got to the point of it just never really flipped over on the back end. As you said, could have been her release a little bit. I'm sure she'll get that fixed, but not an easy spare conversion here getting into the commercial break with the 4-pin out of that 2-5-7. Gonna hook over at it.
That's the best way to make that one, Phil.
No better way to cover it. We're gonna get into the commercial break. Joey Sarai and I will be back for Motion Plus Lanes with the rest of this 2012 Barbiere's Classic match in just a moment. Tara Quinlan stepping up here at Motion Plus Lanes on lane 10, maintaining a 14-pin lead in the girls semifinal for the Barbiere's Classic. And Joey,
well, she wants this double, Phil, because anytime you can take control of the match and mathematically eliminate your opponent early, it's a good thing.
Absolutely. Winner of this match is going to take on first-time Youth Challenge Series TV show Jessica Nannemann from Waterford in the final. And boy, at this rate, Tara keeps throwing it like that, she's going to be in that final match.
And that was a great shot. And again, Tara's been bowling since age 5, so she's an 11-year veteran. She has a high game of 290, high series of 718, and it's just a matter of time before she's going to pop some 300s and 800s.
Absolutely. I just want to thank her mom, Desiree, for getting her to all the tournaments, trips, and is it going to get out of there? No, not enough work on that 4-pin. Kind of a bad break for her there. You see her talking to her mom, keeping her spirits up. Just get out there and make the spare, and just a bad break.
Yeah, and thank God it's not a dinner bucket, because I wouldn't want to shoot those on this pattern.
I don't like shooting those on house shots, let alone anything like this.
And she makes a ball change to her spare ball. Very direct. And you're right. She kind of had a little bit of the yanks to it.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's easy to do if you're bowling on house patterns a lot of the times, because you have to get the ball over that crown of oil in the middle. You're so used to doing that and having it slide. This time, no crown, ball, even though it's polyester, still can have a little hook on the back end.
Right, and both girls using polished polyesters, where a lot of the top amateurs are going to a 4,000 dull finish on their spare ball just to eliminate some of that cross-lane oil sensitivity. And the ball still is going to go reasonably straight, but it won't hydroplane as much. And a great shot there from Caerlina.
Yeah. She's got that Storm Vivid working for her right there. I want to thank our friends Rob Wagner and the Wagner family at Trophy Athletic for the great awards all these bowlers that made TV today will get at the end of the tournament to go along with their scholarship awards. $150 scholarship, top prize today in the girls division. Nice roll on that ball, but once again, just a hair left, and you can see there is no hold in the middle today.
No, and we're seeing that on the left lane where there's a little bit of a friction area, and if you're over that board or two, the ball reads up high.
Should be an easy spare for her. Just move a little bit over to the left part of the lane, throw it a little to the right, and just point A to point B, which is Caerlina's favorite shot. No problem covering that one up. Gets it done nicely. See the banner there for the 9-pin tap singles tourney. Commercial coming up on the next break. We'll give you all that information. Benefits Toys for Tots. It's an awesome, awesome weekend. December 8th, December 9th. Get your information at the Motion Plus Lanes website, motionpluslanes.com. And of course, the winner of our girls division today gets a 900 Global Sure Thing bowling ball. I want to thank them for all their support of the U Challenge series as well.
Yeah, that was left off the hand, and again, tough patterns. It's hard to give up the pocket because you know if you miss by board right, it could be a washout.
And just keeping yourself mentally relaxed while you're going through the shot. Sometimes you just get that thing where you just want to fit it on the bottom. You know it's such a tight area to hit. You give it that little extra, and all of a sudden the ball just goes left on you. And you know, she's looking at back-to-back open frames here.
And that was a good attempt, but you know, I mean, on a tough pattern where you know there's not going to be a lot of striking, spare shooting comes into play. So your better spare player can easily win the match just by converting the frames.
And once again, that's why you never give up hope in a match. If you're down 30 pins early like Caerlina was, her opponents now let her back in it. It's a 3-frame match, dead even. Both the bowlers here.
Great shot in the left lane.
Absolutely. Maximum score of 225 for both bowlers, so.
Well, it's exciting, though, that the matches are all going down to the 9th and 10th frames, and there is more pressure in those frames than there is in the earlier frames, for some reason.
Yeah. Caerlina was the higher seed, and she decided that she wanted to finish after Tara today, which was kind of surprising, but she's the kind of bowler that likes to know what she needs when she gets up late in the game in order to win a match.
Solid shot right there, Phil, and, you know, that forward roll, held pocket, but just didn't get that 5 into the 7. I believe it went in front of it.
Yeah, take a look on the replay here. I'm sure we'll get that replay. There it is. And you called it, Joy.
Yeah, right in front. And, I mean, that's kind of a half 7. Not a bad shot. Not a great shot.
Just got to concentrate on making the spare here and staying even in the match. That's dead left. And she needed a little shorter lane there to make that 7-pin. And now she goes from staying even to 12 pins behind Tara. And Tara's working on a strike. She can end this match when she steps up next. That's just mental mistake. You can see she's kind of frying out a little bit right now before she steps on the approach.
Yeah, and there's times you just have to regroup, take a deep breath.
Get that short memory working. Much better release.
Boy, if she threw it like that every shot, Phil, she'd shoot 300.
The words of wisdom from Joyce Herrera. Look for that book in your neighborhood publisher house sometime soon.
But that ball was picture perfect. Finished right behind the 5-pin. All 10 off the deck. Each pin doing its job.
It's going to let Caerlina have a maximum of 203. Unfortunately for Caerlina, Tara's maximum was 225. And now that's going to go down, if she makes a spare, by 20 pins. But it's still 205. And
right, and an 8-pin is almost a pocket shot. I mean, without the pins in the way, a ball that enters the 1-3 basically is going to go right toward the 8-pin. Oh. Yet, she switches balls. Hard plastic.
Left again, and wow. Wow, just when you thought the match could almost be over, it's wide open in the 10th frame because it's a dead even match again. It was like that way after 7 frames. Find us there again after 9, and it's gut check time in the 10th frame. Tara wasting no time getting on the approach here. Needs to put the pressure on Caerlina. And with a great shot like that, that's going to, with good count, it's going to force Caerlina to double in the 10th frame to win. We still have the distinct possibility of a tie. If Tara strikes out, 193. Caerlina strikes out 203, but that could force Caerlina to double in the 10th frame.
Yeah, and you're right. She wastes no time getting on the approach. Plants. And just a touch high. And the fact it's a split fill means she can't fill the frame. Even with a spare, it would be 183. It's going to come down to the first ball for
Yeah, she's going to want to get 2 here because that'll be 182. If Caerlina goes 9 open, or 9 spare 9, it would be 181. So definitely, I'm sorry, any spare 9 would be 182.
We don't
so
want to do the math. We'll just let people watch and see what happens. But any mark is a win if she doesn't have an open on the second shot.
Yes.
So again, we're better off just watching.
20 pins in the 10th,
yes.
One way or another.
If she gets the first one, it's over. So
taking a little extra time on the approach here. Nice stroke on the bottom. It's got a chance to... Oh, look at that.
And again, that was just high flush pocket, and she didn't get cutesy with it and try and come around it. She just let the ball roll off her hand.
And a little rare showing of emotion there by Caerlina once she got done with that shot. Usually she's pretty stoic, and right there you can see she knew it was there, got the carry. A little holler there, hand slap.
Well, that was lockjaws, so no matter what happens here, even if she gets a 5-count split, the match is hers.
And she's going to advance to take on Jessica Nannemann out of Waterford. And Jessica had a great comeback during the match play semifinals to get up to the top seed, but...
It's a good thing she didn't throw that shot, the second shot in the 10th. So, and I'm sure she realizes that, and that doesn't take much, Phil. So, one board error at the arrows can be 2 or 3 down lane.
So probably work on hitting the pocket again. Jessica will get some practice before we get to the next match. Caerlina's going to have to sit on the sidelines, and nope, she's going to go with her spare ball. And even with Caerlina's experience next match, I don't know, Jessica got hot during match play. It's going to be a tough match. I think it's going to go down to the 10th frame again. Well, that spare is a 191 to 182 win for Caerlina Williams. We'll be back with the final match of the 2012 Barbiere's Classic Girls Division in just a couple of moments. Make sure you stay tuned.
Yep.
As you see here, the motion is strong, defined, and predictable. The downlane continuation and overall hook generated by the perfect pairing of the SRC core and F74 cover will make this ball an instant favorite.
Join Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Van the Man McNeil, Dwight 5-time Albrecht, and other guests as they talk about the PBA Tour and local bowling on the Spare Time Bowling Show, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. All bowling fans, you've waited all day for it. Girls Championship match for the 2012 Barbiere's Classic presented by 900 Global. Caerlina Williams coming off a 191 to 182 victory in her last match, but all 3 games of match play, Jessica Nannemann was not under 200, so I'm going to take Jessica as the favorite on this one, Joy.
Well, I would think experience would not favor Jessica. But again, when you say she hasn't shot under 200, she's got it going today.
Yeah, she picked up fire during the 3 games of match play in the semifinals, and all the bonus pins, 30 pins a game, got her into the top seed after finishing 3rd in qualifying. And not an easy spare here to start with for Caerlina, because anything that's got that 2-pin combination, it's choppable.
And, you know, even though she's comfortable on the pattern, I don't think she's confident on the pattern unless she just makes a perfect shot. So there's not a lot of room out here, but we'll see if Jessica's release or ball choice can possibly give her a little bit more room for error. And Jessica, age 17, Waterford High School, and daughter of James Nannemann, friend and customer for many years.
Hooks up to the pocket. Wow,
and
that
almost,
5-pin.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing with a 5-7-10. But I believe Jim, right now, I believe he is running the pro shop at River City Lanes for probably the last couple of years.
So
Jim, a great bowler in his own day.
Oh yeah, last couple of years, I believe Jim down at the Pearson Classics made the top 100 down there for a $950 paycheck, along with his other various bowling accomplishments. So that's one family. If you go down River City Lanes, you will probably see a Nannemann family member somewhere in that center, whenever it's open.
Yeah, great people and great fun at that center for sure.
Yeah, I bowled the 4-man tournament this past spring. It's a fun tournament to bowl. Look for that out again next March, April, May when they run that.
And Jessica, a 13-year veteran, began bowling at age 4. Leaves a kind of a soft 10.
Yeah.
And her bowl choice today is a Rotogrip Defiant, and she's using it because it's a very even rolling, early rolling ball, and on an oilier pattern, that's not a bad idea, if it carries.
And once again, as you see almost all of our bowlers do in the U-Challenge Series, they switch to that polyester bowling ball to take the lane out of play, have very little hook, no problem covering it up. So after a frame and a half, Caerlina Williams with an 11-pin lead, stepping up in frame number 2. Caerlina high game, 300, high series is 757, and another bowler has been bowling quite a long time since she was age 6. She's got 14 years of experience under her belt, so just above on the experience game.
5-step approach, solid at the line, good release, but not a good ball reaction on the back end. And I don't know if she missed her target or just missed it at the release point.
I think it was just a hair on the release because the ball looked like when it was rolling up to the pocket just didn't have the emphasis it had on previous shots with a little more tail on the back end. So, and of course, never an easy spare conversion on these washouts. Haven't seen one made yet today on the show. That's got a chance. Oh, just a little too far left on that head pin.
Yeah, there's not much room for error on a conversion there. But again, and that's count as well. So 24 in the second, and Jessica takes an early lead on the bench.
5 pins, assuming Jessica strikes in her 3rd frame. Of course, counts always fluid. We found that out at the end of last match when we were trying to figure out the counts to win. One of these days we're gonna have to bring a math major alongside to do color with us, Joy. And a great shot there by Caerlina to get all 10 straight back in the pit.
Yeah, we'll invite Walter Ray to sit in on a show, and he keeps track. Did you know of every game he's ever bowled on a computer, a little handheld computer with software, and every time he gets tapped, he makes note of what pin it is.
It's just got to be a huge data. It can't fit on a handheld anymore. It's just an absolutely huge database after 30 years on tour and everything else.
Exactly. And I don't know if I'd want to remember all my taps or bad shots because there's too many of them. Maybe just keep track of the good ones.
Yeah, I'd want to do the work and see if my bad breaks and good breaks actually evened out. And a pretty good break there for Jessica with leaving just a 610.
My guess is they do, but bowlers tend to remember the heartache and bad breaks much more so than they do when they carry a crossover or carry a pin off the wall for a, because they figure they deserve that. That wasn't a break. I earned that one. You had a solid 8. Bad break.
Absolutely bad break. Well, still a 3-pin lead for Jessica. And the one thing that got her through the match play portion of the tournament today, she was filling frames. Her spare game was really on. She was getting 3, 4, 5 strikes a game. But when you're keeping all those other frames filled, it's a lot easier to shoot 200 than trying to come back from 2 or 3 opens. Nice post at the line for Jessica. And 10 back.
Yeah, Jim taught her well, and she wants to also say hi to Mom Sandy, Grandma Patty, Grandpa Phil, and Brother Josh.
Yeah, they were all up watching Jessica bowl today. Got here in time. Grandma and Grandpa got here in time for the finals. So they had a little bit of a break to get here, and glad they can make it and see her in person. And now Caerlina's got her work cut out for here, looking for a double. Looks like a decent shot.
Oh, that looked good off her hand, didn't it, Phil? And carries the 4-pin off the wall to avoid the bad break of a 4-9.
And it's just kind of the ball, you could just see the reaction. The last 5 feet was so much different than when she left the washout the previous time up on that lane. Whether she just caught a little more of it on the bottom, I don't think it was a slowdown on the ball speed. I think she just grabbed it a little bit more.
No, and we know balls go through 3 transition phases. I mean, there's the skid phase, there's the hook phase, more in the mid-lane part, and at the end of the lane, the ball should enter the roll phase. And we all know maximum pin carry and maximum revolutions are when the ball enters the roll phase properly. And her last shot did. In fact, maybe too properly as it left a 9-pin.
So let's see what she can do here, getting in the commercial break for this match. That looks pretty nice off her hand.
Can't get it done much better than that. That could be a turkey, Phil.
Should have been a turkey, but she's going to go into the commercial break down by 3 pins. We're going to be back with the rest of our girls' championship for the 2012 Barbiere's Classic for Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment. $150 in scholarship money on the line, a 900 global sure thing bowling ball to the champion today here at the Barbiere's Classic for Motion Plus Lanes. And Joey, we got Jessica Nannemann holding on to that slim 3-pin lead in the 5th frame.
And speaking of 900 global, based in San Antonio, Texas, we will be interviewing him this Saturday on our Above180.com podcast. And Eric is the president of 900 Global and oversees manufacturing of many different manufacturers' balls. And again, it should be an interesting interview.
Absolutely. Make sure any of the podcasts you can catch on there. I know the Great Mo Pinnell series about if you want to learn why bowling balls are drilled a certain way, go to that above180.com, get all those old podcasts that are out there, all the new ones updated. You update what, about every other week, Joey?
Usually we do 1 or 2 shows every other week, and they're available for iTunes as a download. In fact, we interviewed Joe Slowinski last week, and he's used to be at Kegel down in Florida, one of the top 100 coaches in the nation, and right now he moved himself and his family to Hungary, where he is coaching the national team. He's coached all over the world. I know he coached in Malaysia years ago, and yeah, I got to talk to him a couple times when I was coaching at UW Whitewater, and he was coaching for Weber International, and just an amazing fountain of knowledge, and he loves to share it. Well, that's it. When you grow up around Del Warren down at International, you're going to gain knowledge, you're going to gain experience, and it just grows and mushrooms. And again, he's loving it out there in Hungary. He said the food is unbelievable, but he does miss the States. Nobody goes hungry in Hungary is what you're trying to say, Joe? That's what I'm saying. Well, I think Caerlina's a little hungry for the pocket right there. She got a little quick on that shot. A little extra pressure on her now because Jessica came out, got that strike in the 5th frame to double and stayed clean in frame number 6. And she needs to make this spare in order to stay within 20 pins in this match. Yeah, in fact, according to Joe, they don't go thirsty there either. Lots of beer, lots of wine, all the time, Phil. Morning, afternoon, and night. Well, not the way Caerlina probably wanted to make that, hitting the head pin on the right side and kicking it into the 2 and 4, but it's a spare on the board. She keeps herself in within 11 pins. 11 pins, yes. So this is the do-or-die time of the match. It's like a baseball game, Phil. The last few innings are where you either get it done or you go home with the tail between your legs. And that's good shot off her hand. And it almost seems like she inched in a little bit as not to come high. And when you have that forward roll, there's not always the down lane recovery. And her ball's almost where it's got to hook and set as opposed to go out and back in. And if she gets a little quick with it, we saw it in the last shot, it'll go a little farther by the pocket or completely miss the head pin. Tough spare here, 2-4-5. That needs to get up, and yeah. And that wasn't much off, but again, spare balls generally come into play as being the better option, but on this pattern, you really wonder if a ball with a little traction might be better. And that's going to put Caerlina down by 28 pins. And Jessica's got to be thinking to myself, boy, my first match ever on TV, and I got a huge lead. I got to keep putting the pressure on here. Another great shot and another strike. Carries the wall shot, and that's a nice loose swing. Soft hand at the bottom. Probably talked to her from Dad Jim. In other words, you don't want to grab it or you don't want to hit up on the ball. You want to kind of feed the ball to your break point, have it roll off your fingers, and it's much, much easier to duplicate. Jessica's always had a pretty basic, nice game. I had the privilege to coach her and her brother Alex at a UW Whitewater bowling camp 5 years ago now. Yeah, it's been 5 years, so when she was 12 years old. And I'll tell you what, the form hasn't changed much between 12 and 17, but her spare game and everything else has improved. Yeah, and this last shot was an oops, I'm sure. One of her best shots the frame prior, and then this one just gets away from her a little bit, and no, it's not an easy spare, Phil. You got to hit the pocket, but not too deep, and she makes it. Yeah, that's an easy one where you can go a little high, leave the 6-pin with it, and she maintains that nice 26-pin lead right now. Yeah, so and that's comfortable. With only 2 frames to go, barring a disaster on your part, the match is yours.
But we've seen Caerlina put strings of strikes together on TV before, and she's not one that's just going to roll over and go away.
And she knows this is a must-strike situation.
Ooh.
And she got the job done. Caerlina, you did very well, even though you might have pulled it a little bit.
Oh, my. She'll take that break and go on lane 9 here at Motion Plus Lanes. Huge break to take out the 3, the 9, and the 10 last on that crossover.
And, you know, if she doesn't nick that head pin, that could have been a 6 count or a 5 count and a very tough spare.
Absolutely. If that were to lift that sleeper 9 pin back there, I wouldn't envy any bowler that would have to shoot that on this condition.
She needs this double and throws it much better and doesn't get the break off the 6 pin that lays in the gutter.
Yeah, that 6 pin can't be more than an inch away from that 10. If it would have just fell into it, we'd have a whole different match getting into the 10th frame.
Yeah, it slides over, and sometimes you see it knock over that 10, but more often than not, it does just what we saw there.
Well, now, unfortunately for Caerlina, the destiny of this match is left in her opponent's hands, because if Jessica gets up and fills the 9th and 10th frames, there's nothing Caerlina can do stepping up in the 10th to win. But we saw this in the semifinal match as well. Tara Quinlan had a chance to mark 2 frames, get out of the match. She opened frame number 9, and Caerlina advanced. It's amazing how quick leads can swing in bowling. You think 20 pins is such a huge lead, it evaporates in a frame or two.
Well, she came high last frame, or she left the 3-6-10.
A little high again.
We see a mirror image of that.
So,
and these are not gimmies.
You can see she got back to the end of the ball returner, kind of shrugged her shoulders a little bit, wiggled her arms a bit just to let the tension out.
I think she may have been just a little slow on that. What do you think, Phil?
I think you're exactly right with that. In ball speed, especially on a flatter pattern of this, ball doesn't get a little extra help from the yellow pattern. The skid long, reads early, and another great spare for Jessica. That's the part that's kept her in the second half of this tournament. She struggled a little bit early. Spare game started coming together, and next thing you know...
Well, you know, she only has 1 open this game, and that was her opening shot where she left the pocket 7-10. So otherwise she's converted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spares, and the rest for strikes. So, I mean, she's doing what she's here to do.
Well, any mark here will get her, with good count, will get her the win. See what she can do here. Ooh, that's... No, it's still falling, but a railroad.
Still difficult, but not as difficult.
Well, she's got to make this, because if she doesn't make this right now, she's got 170. She'd have 179, and that could let Caerlina... Yeah, she needs to make this, because otherwise Caerlina could strike out in the 10th frame and win.
And she stays with her strike ball, which is the wise decision, as you need the ball to hook into the 2-8. Gotta get that back pin dead center.
There it is. There's your champion for the 2012 Barbiere's Classic. You see the handshake already. Jessica Nannemann's going to shoot 190 if she can fill here. Caerlina's highest score right now would be 179, so it's mathematically done. And Jessica Nannemann gets her first Youth Challenge Series title, gets that $150 scholarship, and the 900 Global Sure Thing bowling ball. Sure Dad will have a good time jeweling it up for her.
Oh, I'm sure he will. And she gets 8 on the fill ball for a fine 188.
Good game. We'll let Caerlina get up and finish. I want to thank Mark Dempsey, the owner at Barbiere's Italian Inn, both locations, South Milwaukee and on Blue Mountain Road in Milwaukee. If you haven't stopped into Barbiere's lately, classic Italian food with a classic bowling tournament. Can't do any better.
Had one of their pizzas last week, and it was delicioso.
Absolutely. Well, a good shot by Caerlina. We're going to save a little time here. We're going to let Caerlina wrap up this match. Joey Serrano and I will be back from Motion Plus Lanes. We're going to wrap up this entire show for you and give you a preview of the boys' final in just a couple of moments, so make sure you stay tuned. Here's the High Five Gear Youth Challenge Series Player of the Year point standings after 3 events. Full custom bowling jerseys, golf shirts, and soccer jerseys, where the only limitation is your imagination. HighFiveGear.com.
Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's, in the heart of South Milwaukee, and near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road.
Well, Joey,
Great show again today. Close matches all the way through. Championship match for the girls division. Jessica Nannemann basically just marked her way to a win.
Put a premium on spare shooting, and again, her opening 7-10 in the pocket, frame 1. She stayed clean the final 9 frames, got it done.
Yeah, Jessica wins our girls championship. We've got our under 15 division and our boys championship to come in the next show. Jarrod Sense from this show today gets the ball Brandon Biondo on the next show in the opening match, and we've got 3 other outstanding young men you'll see for the Barbiere's Classic for Motion Plus Lanes. For my friend Joey Serrar, I'm Phil Brilo, and parents take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you on the next show.